everybody, welcome to this Java tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at the observer design pattern. We have a scenario where a system is composed of three elements: a gradebook, which stores a list of grade data objects. We've got an email notification system that should automatically email a student when something in the gradebook changes. And we also have a dashboard, which also automatically gets updated when something in the gradebook changes. So the question is, how can we implement this automatic response to changes in the gradebook? One idea is to use the observer design pattern. So let's jump into our IDE and see how to implement the observer design pattern. This is our gradebook. As mentioned, it stores an array list of grade data objects. We initialize that array list in the constructor method. Now, we can only add a grade to the gradebook if the subject that we're trying to add doesn't already exist in the gradebook. Okay? We only want one grade for English, one grade for maths, one grade for science. So if a subject already exists in the gradebook, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to warn, hey, no, subject already exists, and we're going to get out of that method. Otherwise, of course, we can create a new grade data object and add that new grade data object to our gradebook. Okay, that's how to add data to our array list. We can also update data in the array list. We're going to search for a subject. Here's an enhanced for loop. And if we find that subject, we're going to update the grade. Okay. Now, the issue here is when we do these adding and setting of grades in the gradebook, we need to notify observers. And the observers that we have are our email notification system, that needs to be notified, and our student dashboard system, that needs to be notified. Okay. So for example, in our email notification system, when a grade changes in the gradebook, we need to call this method here, the send email method. And in our student dashboard, when something in the gradebook changes, we need to, what does the dashboard do? It tracks the updates made to the gradebook. So it updates this variable here, grade updates. So basically, we want to be able to call this mutator method every time a change is made to the gradebook. Okay. So we need to add some observers to our gradebook. Aha! Okay. We need some observers. So what we want to do is something like this. I'm going to create an array list of observer objects. Let's just call it observers. And when we construct a gradebook, let's initialize our array list. Okay. Now, what is this thing? Observer. Did I misspell that? Yeah. Okay. Well, an email notification system is one of our observers, and the student dashboard is another of our observers. So the first thing that comes into mind here is inheritance. Okay. This is an observer. This is an observer. They both have similar behavior, maybe not quite the same, but similar. Let's take advantage of inheritance. So I'm going to create a new Java class, which is going to be my superclass. And I'm going to call it observer. Now, I never want to construct an observer object. Okay? I only want to construct objects which are observers, like an email notification system or a student dashboard. So I'm going to make this an abstract class. Also, I want to make sure that anything that is an observer has to implement a method. Okay? So public abstract void doesn't return anything. I'm going to call this the update method. Okay. And it processes a string representing the subject, an integer representing the grade, and another string representing maybe some kind of notification message. So any class that wants to be an observer has to implement this method. Okay. Now the email notification system wants to be an observer. Okay. And it has to implement that update method. It doesn't return anything. It's called update, and it takes 3 parameters. The first one represents the subject, the second one represents the grade, and the third one represents some kind of notification message. And all it does is, let's do system.out.println subject followed by grade, followed by, let's just fix onto that the message. Okay. So when we call the update, when a change to the grade book happens. We'll look at how to do that in a moment. So firstly, we display this message, and then we send the email. So let's call the send email. Okay. Now we want to do something similar for the student dashboard. So I'm just going to copy this update here. Let's go into student dashboard. It's also an observer. Okay. And because it's an observer, it has to implement that update method. Now, of course, it doesn't send emails. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is increment the number of updates. Okay. So when we have an update alert in our student dashboard, print out the nature of the alert and then increment the updates. Okay. Now, in our gradebook, what we want to be able to do with this observer array list is add an observer to the list. Just call it O. So our observers array list here okay, so we can add an observer. Now remember, when we add a grade successfully, what we want to do after successfully adding a grade is notify our observers. So I'm just going to design a method called notify observers, just to try and keep my design modular. Okay. Also, when we update a grade successfully, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to notify the observers. Oh, by the way, we're going to need to tell them the subject, the grade, and an update message. Okay, so we're going to send it a subject, grade, and let's send it a message. This was grade updated. Okay, I'm just going to copy that and just paste it up here. This one was grade added. Okay. So when we do something, we're going to notify our observers, and let's now design that function. Public void notify observers, which takes 3 parameters: the subject, the grade, and something that represents the message. What we need to do is loop through our observer list and call the update function. Remember, every observer has an update function. Okay, so let's loop I'm just going to use a classic for loop. Did I misspell that again? Observers.size and observers.getI. That will take me to one of the observer objects. Dot update. Okay, and the things that we need to send to the update are the subject, the grade, and the message. Okay, so let's just very quickly take a look at the design of our gradebook. Our gradebook now has some observers. We can add observers to the gradebook. When we successfully add a grade, we notify all of our observers. When we successfully change a grade, we notify our observers. And the way that we notify our observers is by calling the update function for each of the observer classes. For example, email notification and student dashboard. Now let's go back to main and let's construct a gradebook. So there's our gradebook. Now let's construct an email notification system. Let's call it EN. So there's our email notification system. Let's create a new student dashboard. Let's call it SD. Let's add these two objects as observers in our gradebook. So we'll add the email notification system, and we'll add the student dashboard. Brilliant. Now let's see if we can add a grade to our gradebook. We need a subject, let's say English, and the grade, 85. Okay. Let's see if this works. Hey! So we got a notification here, a grade has been added, and the email notification system sent an email. And the student dashboard also acknowledged that a grade had been added. Okay, in fact, let's go into the student dashboard. In our update, let's just make sure we know where we are. In student dashboard. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back to main. And let's add a grade. Let's set a grade. That's English, and let's change it to 92. And let's run it, see what happens. All right. So we added a grade, and an email was sent. Then we went into the student dashboard, and we noted that a grade has been added. Then a grade was updated and we sent an email, and then we went into the student dashboard and we also got that update as well. Things are happening automatically. Welcome to the Observer Design Pattern.